Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Cine se scoală de dimineață, departe ajunge. There is a Romanian saying, proverb, however you want to call it. It translates into English like this. The earlier you wake up in the morning, the further you get during the day. So you can do more things. I have to go to Saugatuck today for some pleasure and some business. Saugatuck is an LGBTQ plus minus exclamation mark and so on town community. I'm not going for that. I'm not into that. And it's a beautiful town. I have to go over there today, so I'm going to make two videos from Saugatuck. Probably one from the dunes and the other one from the town itself. Beautiful town by Lake Michigan. I'm going to also visit probably Fan Valley winery, maybe for some wine tasting, and maybe buy my favorite ice wine, which is 42 from Fan Valley. It's $16 for 375 milliliters. That's not a lot for an ice wine, but it's very good. It's my favorite, actually. So this is my plan for today. What do we have in this video regarding the geopolitical developments? Very, very important events. First, a confirmation of one of my, I have to write it down because I always forget this word, prediction. One of my predictions again came true. I don't like when they come true because usually my predictions are about something that is going to happen that is not good for us in general. What's going on? Remember when I told you many times that NATO will get involved eventually in going to have troops in Ukraine? It's happening. I think they already have covert operations and those how they call them, advisors, military trainers and so on. I think they're going to send troops like clear. And I told you about, remember the love-making troops, peacekeeping troops? You know, exactly that is happening right now. Why? They found a justification with North Korea supposedly, allegedly, sending troops to fight in Ukraine. They don't have the evidence that they're going to go over there. They say, the South Koreans and the Ukrainians claim that the North Koreans sent some troops in Far East Russia, which is in Siberia, on that area, to train. But they immediately said they are training those guys because they're going to go to Ukraine. And then we got two countries that are eager beavers to send troops. They are South Korea and France. Because things changed. I told you that yesterday. I told you that many times before. The NATO troops, the NATO guys in charge of us, the decision have been made a long time ago. A long time ago. And I'm going to explain. So this is the first topic. The second one, we're going to talk about a Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine that occurred last night. Then we have an article regarding the Russians liberating, according to them, a city in Donetsk region, or a settlement. Then we have Ukrainian drones hit Russian distilleries. No more vodka for the Russian people. But no, it's not that, because did you know that distilleries not only distill alcohol, they also make some product that can be used by the Russian military. So they tell us that they hit some distilleries, about 4 or so in 3 oblasts. Then we have, we're going to talk about the BRICS. BRICS, you know, this organization formed by Brazil, India, China, Russia, and South Africa. Now it's expanding. It expanded already. It's going to expand more. Putin met already Modi, the president of India. Putin met already President Ramaphosa of South Africa, and I'm gonna give you its achievements of the second club. This is the club of the very good. The other one is the plantation of Al Capone. I will give you, according to Sputnik, what good things, what is BRICS and what they did, and I'm astonished. Oh my God! When I read this one, I mean, I had some knowledge, but we're going to go one by one. Then we're going to find out that BRICS will kill the bank. This is exactly where the Western, this is the heart of the West. The guys in charge are the banks, international banking system, money. So the Russians' BRICS bank is going to compete with International Monetary Fund, with the World Bank, and others that we don't even know that are out there. I covered yesterday or the day before an article stating that the global public debt is going to be $100 trillion by 2027 or something like this, or 2030. $100 trillion. We're going to talk about that one. I'm going to see how BRICS Bank is going to compete with these baboons right here. Well, we have back Mr. Medvedev, the former president of the Russian Federation. He wants Totalkrieg, that is total war. He wants total war. What does that mean? That's another confirmation of one of my predictions. I say prognosis. That's the first one that comes in my hand from Romanian. Prognoza, but prediction or predicție in Romania, but it doesn't come. I have a few words that they don't doesn't work, and they hit parallel like this, and they don't always connect. So I have to write it down. Predicted that it's going to be either this or it's going to be total destruction. This is what Medvedev claims, and I agree with him totally in this one. On this one, well, the Ukrainians, did you know that they are running out of troops? So how do you think they will be replaced, and by whom? By the first topic that we're going to discuss right now. And guess who's going to come in? I think Romanians will be pushed in. I think the Poles will be pushed in. And I'm not sure about the Baltic states, because the Baltic states have to come like a little bit through Poland or go to Belarus. And if they go through Belarus, Belarus is going to smoke them with nuclear weapons. I have no doubt about that as well. And it's another prediction. And the last topic for today is Steve Bannon. You know Steve Bannon? All right. I know he's a bad dude, right? I think he's a very smart dude, and I think he got big balls. And he is to be released from prison. All these guys that work for Trump and are dangerous for telling the truth, they are, not all, I'm exaggerating, are just taken, thrown into prison for some time. You're going to have, what, Giuliani, right? You have him there. You have some others. They want to get Trump. They got that, what's his name, the general, can't remember his name, at the very beginning, because he conspired with the Russians. Oh my, and so on. These are just examples the guys in charge of us give to all of us. See what happened to Bannon? So if that happened to Bannon, it's going to happen to you. Why? Because he was charged with contempt of court. He didn't want to show up in court at one point or something like that. And this guy said, well, we're not going to hold you to the same level as we held Holder. Remember Holder? Okay. If you remember Holder, he was I think he was how do you call DOJ during Obama. And when he had that Fast and Furious weapons garbage, illegal, by the way, to terrorists and cartels, when he was asked to come to Congress, he said, nah. And Obama said, we're going to enforce here and claim some privilege here. He will not show up in front of you baboons. Bye-bye. So Holder, the Mr. Mustache Man, was like, you all, yes. But hey, somehow they're discriminated. All right, but he didn't show up. But Bannon goes to prison. He was an advisor. He worked for the government. They said, what was that? Privilege, presidential privilege or something like this. All right, let's start with the first article, first topic. And this comes from the new voice of Ukraine. France considers deploying non-nuclear deterrent forces. So they call it deterrent forces. I called it peacekeeping forces or love-making forces in Ukraine. You got that? No non-nuclear deterrence. That means they're not going to send anything that the Russians can get upset about. This was my prediction. These guys will send these troops, and they use the same method, as I always say, the mountain slope method, or the mountain slope, how do I want to call it? They start slow, and they end up with everything. They start with little things, and then they say, well, we're going to send tanks now. Each and every, the model, mountain slope, each and everything that the Westerners sent to Ukraine as military aid, someone's paying for that, obviously. It's the aid, all right? And it's you and I and our children and grandchildren eventually, through taxation and through inflation. Easy. Each and everything they said, we will not send howitzers over there. No. That would escalate. They sent. We will not send armored vehicles. No, they sent. Every time they said it is an escalation. Then they said, oh, we're definitely not going to send tanks. They sent. We're not going to send short-range missile systems over there, air defense missiles. No, they sent HIMARS. They sent Patriot. We're not going to... It's out of the question. No airplanes, no fighter jets to Ukraine. No, they would anger Russia. No, it's an escalation. They sent. The same thing they said with boots on the ground. There will be absolutely no boots on the ground. But you know how they do it? Well, things changed. And they provide you the change. Therefore, we have to change. It sounds logical, but all these things are not going to send boots on the ground legally. Yesterday I talked about no flight zone over Ukraine. They will do that as well. I explained that a few times. Now they're getting to this one saying because of the allegations of North Koreans possibly being on the front with Ukraine, things change, we're going to come with NATO. So, sorry, but it's going to be, again, mountain slope. It's going to be a non-nuclear deterrent forces, maybe some trainers, but legal. So you see, they put their foot in the door. I told you, and they will get to that one too. Until they do what Medvedev says, threatens them with reality. Why did they have to wait, 3 years? I'm talking about the Russians. In 3 years, how many hundreds of thousands of people died? How many? The destruction, refugees. Why was this necessary? Why? Because some companies made some money, like the arms manufacturing companies and banks and others. Is that the reason why? I don't know, just a question. So let's see what these guys are saying. France considers deploying. Ukrainian president, because he's Ukrainian, victory plan is beginning of a political path, is the beginning of a political path on which we must take responsibility for helping Ukraine in the long term, according to the official. The idea of ceasefire for Kiev raises the question of conventional deterrence that would allow us to prevent new Russian aggression, and this question must already be considered. You can say, well, this is after we win, right? Le Cornu noted that Ukraine will eventually have to engage in dialogue with Russia, recalling that the victory plan includes the return of territory occupied by Russia. The complexity of this moment is that we must accept a balance of forces. When asked whether France should send troops to Ukraine, he said, and I'm quoting, "We have had debates about preparation." So they didn't have debates about the decision. They are having debates about preparation. That is, are we going to go into mountains this weekend for travel? Yes, we will. Okay, let's discuss the preparation. What time? What do we take with us? That's how you do. So the decision has been made to go in the mountainside for fun for this weekend. Like I go to, let's say, Sagatag today. The decision, I'm going to take my binoculars, I'm going to take my fucking stick, my, selfie stick and all that. I already know what I'm going to take, obviously, my gun always, and these kind of things. But the decision has been already made by this guy over here. The same. He's not talking about the decision, he's talking about the preparation. That's the first one. I'm going to just want to make sure that we have this from as many angles as possible. Russia Today. We should consider placing, quote-unquote, conventional deterrents in Ukraine. Russia needs to be discouraged from launching new operations against its neighbor once a ceasefire is reached, they say. Once it's reached. But over there it says the West should seriously consider placing conventional deterrence assets, which could include long-range missile systems, on Ukraine's soil once the hot phase of the conflict is over. They look at it like that. They say, well, actually, only when it's over. I don't think so. I think they are going to. This is just a foot in the door. That's exactly what the Russians said in many times before, but eventually in December, October, November 2021, and then in January 2022, before the unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. You guys want this country to become NATO, to bring your systems closer to us, so you have 2 minutes and 45 seconds to hit Moscow. We can't let that happen. We can't. And this guy said, we don't give a fuck what you care. We care about other countries having the right of self-defense, but you, fuck you. You know why? Because we want to fuck you very hard. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's see what these guys want. Ukrainska Pravda. South Korea considers sending military personnel to Ukraine. And here, South Korea considers deploying troops to Ukraine. So these guys, South Koreans, they tell us that because North Korea, let's say if North Korea somehow sent troops to fight in Ukraine, they should also send troops to fight in Ukraine. You tell me what's the logic. You tell me, let's say you have a neighbor and you don't like the neighbor, right? Let's North Korea, South Korea have problems with these guys. And those guys, they want to go and help someone else fighting. That you have no problem with. You're not an ally with those guys. That's their decision. Aren't you happy that those guys are going over there and you're just, less of those guys next door? No, you say, no, they do it. If those guys decide tomorrow to jump over a cliff, is South Korea going to do the same thing? So why do you go over there? To gain experience? Is that what it is? To kill some Koreans? Koreans killing Koreans? What's going on here? That's baboonish, but dangerous. Do you think that South Korea makes this decision? No, they've been activated by Al Capone, and this is another foot in the door. They will say, because of those guys, somehow, logically, South Korea has to do the same thing. If tomorrow, let's say, North Korea sucks a big one, these guys are going to do the same thing, right? Because those guys are doing it? No, because Al Capone will not tell them that. They were just activated, and it's going to be South Korea, and after South Korea will be over there, they will say, oh, maybe France, or maybe Poland, to defend Lviv, all right, or maybe the Romanians, because they're told so, and the Romanians will be, oh my God, let's move on. Now, let's move to the next topic, coming from, what's this, why is this so, all right. So what do we have here? We have, according to Ukrainska Pravda, Ukrainian defenders down 42 out of 60 drones launched by Russia. Just to come back to the first topic. Yes, NATO will get involved, and yesterday I said they are looking for a reason to sell to the baboons. The decision has been made a long time ago. They just let us know, and they make step by step, they try to educate the baboons or shape their opinions and preferences based on their decisions that they already made. That's what's going on right now. And the baboons will say, if North Korea sends, it's logical that we send as well. You can see a point over there, but not really. You've been sending to Russia, these guys, everything you had to Russia, to Ukraine, everything you had over there. You place sanctions on Russia, and you tell me that North Korea gave 3 bullets and 3 hookers, or China helped with some condoms or something. I mean, and Iran gave Shahed drones, and you don't even know when they bought them. It's still going on. All right, let's go to this article here and see what the Russians did. Russia bombarded Ukraine with 60 Shahed attacks UAVs and unidentified drones on the night of 21 to 22 October. A total of 42 drones were destroyed, 10 disappeared from the radar, 1 flew to Belarus, and 3 turned back to Russia. It says it's been confirmed that 42 enemy UAVs were shot down in Sumy, Dnipropetrovsk, Cherkasy, Donetsk, Zaporozhye, Kiev, Kherson, and Kharkiv Oblast. Where are they located? Right here. Kiev, Chernihiv, Sumy, Kharkov, Dnipropetrovsk, Cherkasy, this area right here, by the border. All right, most of the US UAVs were reportedly shot down in Sumy Oblast. However, the attack killed and injured several civilians. In total, the Russians launched 60 drones from Russian cities of Kursk, Yeisk, and Primorsko-Akhtarsk. Always these 3 points. Kursk right here. We're going to go to Yeisk. It's right here across from the Sea of Azov. And Primorsko-Akhtarsk is south here. So let me do like this. This is Yeisk here, and this is Primorsko-Akhtarsk. Primorsko-Akhtarsk, Yeisk. And then you have Kursk Oblast, which is, as I said, north here. Obviously, they destroyed everything. And we're going to go to the next topic. Sputnik. Russian forces liberate Novosadovoye settlement in Donetsk region. The Zapad battle group also inflicted losses on the 3 Ukrainian brigades in Novoyegorovka, Ternov, Torskoye and Krasny Liman and repelled a counterattack by the 14th Mechanized Brigade. Units of the Zapad battle group, through active and decisive actions, have liberated the settlement of Novosadovoye in the Donetsk People Republic. So they did it, and I think the whole front is going to possibly collapse pretty soon. I covered that yesterday in a video, and I think it's about it's in Kherson, in Kharkiv, in Donetsk, in which one I didn't see, in Luhansk I didn't see too much activity, but all this the Russians are advancing. Pokrovsk is gonna be gone, and nevertheless, let's go to the next article. Now let's find about the distilleries, right? Shall we? New voice of Ukraine. Ukrainian drones hit Russian distilleries used for military purposes. These guys are hitting only distilleries with military purposes. Now look at this drone. You see this drone? Over there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is a big drone. I think this is about 3 meters wide. So this is a drone that could be assembled in a garage with no problem, piece by piece. Let's say United States of America. And you can assemble them very fast. They come pre-assembled. It's not like you want to screw and do everything right there. They're going to be pre-assembled like a bicycle, let's put it this way. So if these guys, if the Ukrainians are doing this to Russia, and yesterday I covered an article where they said they claimed that they hit something about 900 kilometers over Russian territory, don't you think that this could happen to the United States of America or Canada or wherever? I again predict that this will happen, unfortunately. And how are you going to defend yourselves in such a vast country? How? You're a sitting duck. I covered an article a few days ago with an air base in the United States of America. Wasn't it in Virginia? Wasn't it, or something like this, where hundreds of drones just went around it and over it, where we have F-35s and what else over there. They couldn't do shit. They were unprepared unless they took their small arms and to do something over there. That would happen. And remember, if this will be used, let's say, by a cartel from, let's say, Mexico, they can go 1,000 kilometers. Let's say they do it from Canada. Who knows where? United States of America. My friends, this is dangerous. And now they hail, oh my God, look what the Ukrainians are doing with their drones over there. But I guarantee you there will be some criminals, evil minds over there. They will do that, and they will settle scores with their cartels, their criminal organizations, and with the politicians that don't do whatever these guys are telling them to do. And what are you going to do? You're going to be a sitting duck right there. Your neighbor can do that to you, and you will never find out where that came from. And this is the big one. The little ones that the Ukrainians have that we provide are like this big. You see this big? This big. You can put it in your ass and take it out. This much. With one of those 4. What are you going to do with that? You send 50 at a rally. You can have that fucking bulletproof glass. What are you going to do about it? Pew, pew, pew. Have you seen the Secret Services? Pew, pew, pew. The woman who could not fucking holster her pistol. So that's dangerous, and it's going to come to Europe first. That was my prediction. Ukrainian drones struck Russian distilleries overnight, targeting facilities used for military purposes, only military purposes. So according to the Kovalenko, Ukrainian drones attacked 4 such facilities overnight on October 21st. Biochem processes molasses and produces ethyl alcohol. You cannot drink that one. Luskovsky Distillery, Efremovsky Distillery, an industrial enterprise in Voronezh Oblast. Drone attack on Russian distilleries. And they give you the locations here. It's in Tula Oblast. Also, it's Tambov Oblast. and I saw another one, and in Voronezh Oblast. Three locations. I think that the strikes, long-range strikes deep inside Russia had started a long time ago with Ukrainian drones or whatever they have. They tried to push it, foot in the door, with their Americans and so on. They changed that and said no, because they got threatened with nuclear bombardment by the Russians. And they say, okay, these guys might do it. You remember, Putin changed the policy, and not only that, the protocol. They said, if you guys do this, you are actively involved in this and you are participants, and we will use that. Possibly. Everything is possibly, because it seems like clearly they don't want to use that. They could have used it on the 24th of February 2022, and they didn't. And they haven't been using it since then. It doesn't mean that one day it cannot happen, but I hope it doesn't. I hope these baboons here are just sobering up. So I think that those long strikes started, and the Ukrainians will receive, supposedly, they will create their own domestic drones, and they will hit further with bigger and bigger and bigger drones. There will be actually the Americans giving these guys technology already. They will build it in Ukraine, right, pre-assembled, and they will they will come, oh, this is a Ukrainian drone, we're going to hit Moscow or wherever they want. Moscow is close, somewhere even deeper further, in the Ural Mountains, for instance. They will hit over there some real damage over there, and then this guy's going to say, it's domestically made. Then what, Russia? Then what? You're going to go to Medvedev, right? And we have another article here. Drones attack facilities in Russia's Tambov and Voronezh Oblast. And the other one was Tula. So let me show you where those are. So Tambov is here. Remember, Moscow is here. Tambov is here. So the same distance, right? Tambov, Tula, right there. These are, and Voronezh is here. So in these areas they hit. This is how far they have no problems using those big drones I showed you. So they say the same thing here. Russian authorities have reported that UAVs struck premises belonging to the Russian company Pap in Tambov Oblast and an industrial facility in Voronezh Oblast, but in Tula as well. Next one. How does BRICS differ from other international organizations, and what has it achieved in 18 years? Let's have a short summary, right? It's listed beautiful like they do it. You know how it was founded in 2006 by Brazil, Russia, India, and China, with South Africa joining in 2011. And then January 1st, 2024, Egypt, Iran, and United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Ethiopia became full members, while Russia assumed the BRICS presidency. It's around 40 countries are interested in cooperating with the group in various ways. About 30 want to already be members. All right, so it says, BRICS is a club of like-minded members, not a bloc like NATO or the EU, and lacks a charter, budget, secretariat, and supranational structures. That could be all put in place. Now, what did they achieve? Now, listen to this, my friends. The expanded BRICS represents about 45% of the world's population, approximately 3.6 billion people, and a combined nominal GDP of $28.5 trillion. 28.5 trillion. So 1 trillion is 1,000 millions. All right? BRICS now accounts for 36% now of global GDP, surpassing the G7's 29.3 and the EU's 14.5%. BRICS 2024 growth is forecast at 4% versus 1.7% for the GDP for the G7 and 3.2% globally, Putin said at the BRICS Business Forum. Now, it's always like this. The economies that are developing will always have, if with the right policies and investments and brains and hard work and work ethic, they always have 5, 6, 7, but the ones is like a two boats. The first boat and the other one comes behind it in the lake. The first one has to break the water or someone runs. The other one stays behind and it's easier. So it's going to catch up. But when this boat is going to get parallel, they're going to encounter the same opposition from the air. Remember when the athletes are running, one stays behind because they will first get the air. Yeah, you say, what? Yes, it is. It's the air that is going to push you every time. It's going to be harder for you. The other guy standing behind you is going to be easier. He can catch up with you and stays a little bit behind you. But when he goes around to pass you, he's going to encounter but he didn't spend that much energy so far. So the same, it's easier for the developing countries to get up closer to the ones that are already ahead. But once they get over there, all these 4% will diminish into 3%, maybe 1%. That's the way it is. All right, the BRICS bloc holds $45 trillion in investable wealth, according to the January 2024 BRICS Wealth Report. BRICS nations collectively account for 45% of global crude oil productions. These are all loaded, my friends. BRICS countries hold over 20% of global gold reserves, led by Russia, 2,340 tons, and China, 2,260 tons, according to Sputnik's calculation using World Gold Council data. BRICS accounts for 25% of global exports. In 2023, Russia trade reached $228 billion with China, 57 billion with India, and 13 billion with Brazil and South Africa. BRICS founded a new development bank. This is what I'm talking about. In 2014, the fund to fund infrastructure and sustainable development projects in member states and emerging markets. The new development bank authorized capital is 100 billion. That's not dollars, right? Since 2016, the new development bank has invested in 138 projects across China. Amid Western sanctions, around 65% of settlements between Russia and BRICS partners now use national currencies. So that means the dollar is kind of in bad shape. So let's see what the bank is ready to invest in. Is going to attack the international Western banks. All right, let's look at that one. And here it is. BRICS new development bank finance project worth $33 billion since 2018, Putin said. So I think there's going to be a competition for the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Here we have, in this article, it's a long one, it's just the updates. We find out that Turkey seeks to expand ties with BRICS. Mr. Erdogan hopes for fruitful process at summit. Erdogan is right there as well. Then we have Modi showing up, Ramaphosa right here. South African president says happy to be in Russia's Kazan for BRICS summit. They will expand as well. And we have Mr. Modi. So these guys are already there. Mohammed bin Salman did not show up there, and we'll see what that is all about. Let's look at something more important, shall we? Right there. Medvedev warns of total war, according to Russia Today. The world needs a balance of powers to avoid extermination, end quote. The former Russian president has said. Look at him, isn't he sweet? The US must abandon its ambitions of world domination, end quote, or a risk of war which could lead to the quote unquote complete extermination of humanity. So you have two options. One, you abandon your, what Medvedev calls world domination, trying to dominate the world, or eventually we get to a war, which is going to be nuclear war. According to Medvedev, who currently serves as the deputy head of Russia's Security Council, Washington's goal is, and I'm quoting, domination over old world as well as over the rest of the world. However, this policy is merely leading to the, and I'm quoting, weakening and humiliation of the West, including Europe, within the framework of the modern multipolar global order, Medvedev wrote on his Telegram channel. Well, he says, Medvedev argued that the world needs a balance of powers rather than a dominant one, meaning that there should be a quote-unquote full-fledged counterweight to the US, such as during the time of the USSR. A world without balance in today's conditions will not last even a decade. If the West does not realize this simple truth, it is the end for everyone. And this is not a situation where the death of some will mean the victory of others. I think is correct about that. That's why we have BRICS right there. Next article. Russia Today. Ukrainians admit they're running out of troops. Spanish media. The manpower shortage is leading to long rotations and extreme exhaustion, frontline officers told El País. So, no fresh blood. You have to rotate more often and be on fight longer. This is something that last week Ukrainian media reported that according to the country's Prosecutor General Office, there have been 60,000 criminal cases related to unauthorized abandonment of a military unit. That is, defect, I go, right? Or place of service since 2022. 60,000. Nearly 30,000 offenses related to desertion have been registered over the same period, and the number of such transgressions have increased several-fold in recent months. And this is what Putin says. In June, Putin estimated Ukrainian losses as 50,000 troops per month. 10 months, 500,000 troops. Adding that Ukraine's mobilization was not solving the manpower shortage. But that's going to get me to the first topic of this video. It's okay. Romania will be activated. Poland will be activated. North Koreans will be activated. All these vassal states will answer yes. And what are you going to do? The citizens of those countries. I tell you what you're going to do. You're going to go and show up when they call you. Otherwise, you're going to be called a deserter. Or not only. So let's go, and the law of the land applies. Let's see, or at least celebrate. I like the fact that Steve Bannon is released, but not forever. Steve Bannon to be released from prison next week. Bureau of Prisons says, despite his attempts for earlier exit. This is Steve Bannon right there. Steve Bannon, the right-wing podcaster and former Donald Trump aide. See, this is all you need to know about him. According to CNN. Do you think there's no more to know about Steve Bannon than this? He was just an aide over there. He was just, no, that's it. He was not an advisor or anything in the White House. No, it was just an aide over there. To get out of federal prison next Tuesday, despite repeated attempts he and his legal defense team have made for him to be released early. The Bureau of Prisons said in a letter to Bannon on Monday that his release date will remain October 29 as originally set. This means he will serve his full 120-day sentence for contempt of Congress behind bar. That's all they can get. Remember, they got Al Capone on tax evasion, not on any mass murders or anything, or bootlegging, or it was just tax evasion. Don't fuck with them, those guys over there. As someone said, those guys will always win. So here is, my friends, get ready for war. These guys are going to send troops over there, I guarantee you that. And they will have the support of the masses because they worked on that support day by day. And as I said many times before, I predicted that. I don't think it was hard. You saw a pattern, you understand the dynamics, you understand the psychology of human being and those weasels, especially by their actions and statements and by body language as well. And you understand these guys probably will do this. And you go with a percentage of, let's say, 95% or 90%, maybe even more. Here is, my friends, dangerous times. And Medvedev is ready. You either stop trying to destroy us. We're already forming a next club right here to oppose yours. Or eventually we're going to get to nuclear war and nobody wins. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.